The conception of the iPhone began with Apple in 2004, with Steve Jobs personally requesting three engineers to work on a secret project codenamed Project Purple. At this point, Apple was already an established technology company, and Jobs had been researching and investigating touchscreen devices, where ultimately he pushed these engineers to gather a team which was sized at around 1,000 employees to start researching and developing a touchscreen device that could act as a traditional PDA, a music player, which took from iPod's design element of being able to play music on the go, and turn that into a more practical device by incorporating that into a phone. So a PDA, a music player, as well as a phone, all in one device. Development for prototypes began in 2004, and they continued for around 30 months, where Apple spent around $150 million in researching and developing this new device. Once development of the prototypes ended, the announcement of the iPhone came in early 2007 in January, where it would revolutionize wireless devices. So here we can see the publication of Project Purple, the actual announcement of the first generation of iPhone. The picture on the left is the iPhone in 2007 at the Macworld convention. It's being held on display. In January 9th, 2007, a Macworld convention was held where Steve Jobs would first introduce the world to the iPhone. This event garnered a lot of attention from the media and the public, but a later conference held by Apple on June 11th of the same year would reveal that the iPhone would also be able to access the internet, as well as downloading third-party software and programs that users would be able to use on the iPhone as well. It was not specifically tied to only Apple programs. Later, in June 29th, 2007, the first iPhone was fully released in stores in America for the public to purchase, while international release was delayed for a few months to November of the same year, November 2007. At release, the iPhone retailed for around $500, $499 for the 4GB model, and the larger version of the iPhone at 8GB would increase the price by $100 at $599. In the span of that year, while Apple was still selling the first generation of iPhones from 2007 to 2008, June was the release. June 2007 was when they released it, and they discontinued the first iPhone in July of 2008, and they sold 6.1 million units of iPhone.
First off, we have the first iPhone was created in 2007, June 29th. It's called the original iPhone. Series introduced on the iPhone 4S in 2011, which is a huge milestone for Apple. That series is one of the most popular items provided by them. The plus sizes were entered in the market with the iPhone 6, which provided the larger size phones, which also made a big move in the market. The first all-screen phone was released during the iPhone X in 2010. This provided the first iPhone to not have a notch. The Purple project was released in 2006, which gave the process of having all full screens to having touch screens. October 2020, the 5G was released, which is a new upcoming provided data with the internet.
So why this product came into being? The original story of the first iPhone reveals that Jobs was just trying to make a really good phone, really good, cool phone. So, quote, Jobs at the 2007 keynote, "We want to reinvent the phone. What's the killer app? The killer app is making calls. It's amazing how hard it is to make calls on most phones." So at that time, the most advanced phones in the market are shown here. iPhone combines three products: a revolutionary mobile phone, a widescreen iPod with touch controls, and a breakthrough internet communications device with a desktop-class email, web browsing, maps, and searching into one small and lightweight handheld device. The original iPhone was the thing that started it all for modern smartphones. While there were smartphones before it, they were nothing like Apple's iPhone that charmed them with its radically bigger screen, mind-boggling mind-boggling multi-touch interface, and the first on-screen keyboard that actually worked well. The list of breakthrough innovations in the original iPhone is long and involves so many stories that new books only now start to shed light on some of its details. Here is a short summary of what made the iPhone so special. iOS, a revolutionary new multi-touch interface controlled entirely with your fingers. Gigantic, for the time 3.5-inch display with a resolution of 320 multiplied by 480 pixels. Completely new on-screen keyboard. Internet connectivity with native email client and web browser. 2-megapixel photo camera. Ambient light sensor. Proximity sensor. 4GB, 8GB, 16GB storage models. YouTube and Google Maps applications. Google Search. iPod Music video player with support for iTunes.
And here is why the iPhone actually came into existence. This is the reason why iPhone's creation succeeded so well was because many phones prior to 2007 were extremely primitive. The best phones at the time had extremely small screens. They were large, bulky. They had physical keys and keypads on them. The cameras on them were low quality, and there was a lot less functionality in general with phones than we're familiar with today. So these devices were almost exclusively used for communication, calling and texting only. Very few design elements that would make them less practical in the grand scheme of mobile devices, at least up to 2007. This is what pushed Steve Jobs to investigate touchscreen devices, and is why Apple would seek to make a mobile device that would try and fix a lot of issues that were present with older flip phones. Like with iPhone's bigger screens, their functionality with the third-party softwares, abilities to have many different design elements added after purchase, which again, the third-party programs helped a lot. This was something that was very rare in the flip phone era, to have a device with this much practicality, this much functionality behind it. Notable brands at the time were very primitive. Companies like Nokia and Motorola. In the picture, you can see a very boxy, bulky phone with a large physical keypad, again, and a small screen. The camera on there is very negligible in terms of the device as a whole. So mobile phone technology was not being advanced rapidly. And this is something that Apple took advantage of in their creation with the iPhone. And the ramifications behind owning an iPhone, especially in 2007, with the iPhone just releasing in the summer of that year, many people were aware of the iPhone and what it meant. There were a lot of technological advances that were heavily advertised in Apple's marketing, which we'll talk about later. But these technological advances that came with the iPhone came with a high price tag, along with many unique design elements. Such as the bigger screen, touchscreen ability, things like that, which Apple ideally hoped it would make a big impact on the user and how they would use their mobile devices and their technology in the future. Having an iPhone at this time Also meant that you had the money to buy. I mean, these were very expensive devices. $500 for the 4 GB, an extra 100 if you wanted a larger storage in your phone. But it was also the one of the highest levels of technology available for purchase at the time. So it was a very premium product. And this is something that Apple knew, and they were able to incorporate it into their marketing and advertising strategy, especially as the years go on. So we're going to talk about the beginning marketing for iPhone.
So let's map this product life cycle to the iPhone, to this specific product. So for the development stage, Steve Jobs announced iPhone at the MacBook convention on January 9th, 2007. For the introduction stage, the first iPhone was born as iPhone 2G in June 2007. From childhood teen to teen, it grew in the form of 3G and 3GS, which was not just a phone but a status symbol. The growth stage is the teen. Like a human being, it evolved into beautiful 4 and 4S, with more and more people falling in love with it. Its popularity was growing, making its rivals truly jealous. The maturity stage starts from iPhone 5 in 2012. Now it was getting into young and aggressive. It was the fight for love of its customers and the dominance in the market. Through its appearance did not change much, but it had become physically and mentally more strong. And colorful, shading its arrogance, it reached out to more people for more love. Decline. I don't think iPhone is in this stage right now, but it's kind of in the late maturity stage right now.
Now, at the beginning of iPhone's life cycle, Apple was, of course, already an established technology company. Started way before iPhone even came into conception. Apple had the financial resources to be able to push advertising out to many different platforms and many different people in a short span of time. In 6 months, they were able to achieve a um, a rate. There was a survey done in 2007 on Americans where it was found that 6 out of every 10 Americans knew of the iPhone when it was coming, what it meant. That is very huge for 6 months of marketing and advertising to have that many people know of what the iPhone is going to be when it is coming. Very huge. The Macworld convention that I talked about earlier was also key in bringing attention to the newly developed device. The media gave a lot of publicity to a product that was already being advertised on a extremely large scale. The Hello advertisement was one of the very first advertisements that would actually show the iPhone to the world, and they only showed the iPhone for 3 seconds at the very end of the advertisement, and it's become a very iconic advertisement anyway.
Okay, let's take a look at the introduction stage and how it was promoted. First, at this stage, Apple used a skimming strategy. The price is kept high. It's not for everybody. Steve Jobs gives keynote conference. Advertising and marketing campaigns are launched everywhere, especially on social media. Will that work? Will that method work today? I think mostly no. Because Steve Jobs is unique. He is the designer, he is the product manager, and he is the promoter. He can clearly give everybody a vision, a product, and a future to this product. And the second thing is that social media is totally different from what it was then. Pricing structure, pricing strategy is good. I think it's good because at that time, competing Android phones are not available widely. Now let's take a look at the growth stage. This stage, Apple takes a differentiated product strategy. At least one major feature was introduced for every release of the product. Pricing is increasing a little bit. Old phone models price drop. So every new release, the price is quite stable. A little bit increase compared to the previous model. Product quality is maintained well so that you can keep the customers. More marketing spending in this. Definitely, this is the growth stage. So lots of marketing campaigns on social media running. Will this the same method working for today? I think mostly yes. It is a good strategy to introduce new technology features into the new models. I think it is still taking this strategy for the latest phones. Pricing strategy is good, but considering the inflation happened today, we need to probably will put a higher price tag on the new models. For the maturity stage, many Android phones are available in the market now, especially from Samsung, Google, and lots of other cheap devices available in the market with similar features. Starting from iPhone 8, the price is relatively lower compared to the features. For example, you have more memory, but the price is the same. That's what I say, relatively lower. Expanding product line to sell in the low-end market. Try to compete against many of the Android phones. So is this strategy still work today? I think yes, mostly. Considering the highly competing cell phone market today, these strategies still works.
And for iPhone's current marketing, Apple's marketing and advertising of the iPhone in today's world, today Apple focuses on keeping the consumers loyal and happy, but it still retains elements of their old marketing advertising strategy as well. So Apple focuses a lot on keeping their brand at a premium status. It will push advertising out to its loyal consumers about upgrades to their next product, what is going to be expected in the newer versions of whatever they are releasing, as well as them making their advertisements as aesthetically pleasing to look at as possible to bring in potential consumers. The image on the right is a frame of the iPhone 13's Pro advertisement, where they go into detail a lot about the camera technological advancements, especially. One of the results of the technical upgrades to the iPhone was a cinematography focused camera software. They emphasize that a lot. A 3-minute introduction video, the iPhone 13 Pro. The advertisement for iPhones was also just as abundant as it was when the iPhone first came out. The advertising for Apple iPhones is everywhere, but their complexity has definitely grown in how the iPhone technology has also grown. In the beginning, the ads for iPhone, like the Hello advertisement, were very vocal, but they were simple. They were very primitive compared to the advertisements and marketing that for iPhones today. They've been replaced with technical and flashy advertisements to try to show off as many of the technological advancements as they can. They also try to show the components as to what allows the iPhone to at that standard. They get very complex with their advertisement, which is very different than what we. Right, and that was my presentation. Thank you.